And if one of you guys want to pull up the YouTube really quick, just to make sure that we can hear each other. Make sure everybody can hear everybody. We are live.
Testing.
We are live. How's that sound? We are live.
Testing.
Just search up The Real Clyde on YouTube.
All right, we got people pouring in. What's up, guys? What's up? We'll let everybody kind of get in here, and then we'll get started. We got a bunch of shit to talk about tonight. I'm going to pull up the tweets.
If that link isn't working, just look up The Real Clyde on YouTube, and it'll be on the live. All one word.
All right. Just pull this up real quick, guys. Hang on.
So just so you guys know, if you want to see the real live stream, we're gonna be sharing our screen and stuff like that. That is on YouTube right now and X. If you want to find it, you can just copy and paste the link pinned in the comments, or you can just simply search The Real Clyde on YouTube and then go to my page, and you'll see that we're live. You can join right there if you want to see the screen sharing, because we're going to be sharing our screen, which we can't do on Instagram. So best place to watch is on YouTube.
All right.
Yes, we're going to be doing a Q&A later.
Yeah, we will. We'll do a Q&A. We're going to go for about an hour, and then we'll do a Q&A right before we end. I'm just trying to pull up this tweet. I'm trying to find the tweet that they put out. You know what? I'm just going to go to her page. That's what we're going to do. Anyway, if you guys want to start, go for it. Kato, kick us off, bro.
I want to know how many people are joining us tonight that also joined us last night.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
I want to see them Roger up in the comments.
It was late, bro.
Yeah,
and where you guys?
That's why I'm curious.
And where are you guys coming from?
Yeah,
where are you joining us from?
And just for anybody who wasn't here last night, we went until 11:30 Mountain Time, and we had a lot of people join us.
Yeah, there's like almost 700 people there.
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of people were from Central and Eastern, and those are the real ones. If you stayed up that late to watch our dumbasses talking about bullshit, then I appreciate you.
Baltimore. Somebody in here was from Baltimore.
Nice.
Houston.
Yeah.
Keep shouting them out. GRMI? What's GR?
All right.
Michigan is MI is Michigan.
California, Colorado, San Diego, Maryland.
California, Dubai.
Dubai? No way.
Yeah.
Let's go. Oh, that's on your Instagram, right?
Neo-Byzantium.
Hell yeah. All right.
San Antonio. South Korea.
No way. That's cool.
All right. I can't find the freaking tweet. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna stop looking for it. But if you guys are tuning in right now, the name or the freaking title of this is Candace Owens afraid of TPUSA. The reason why is because if you didn't catch it, recently Turning Point basically challenged Candace to a debate to talk about all of the things that she's been accusing them of, and just kind of go through everything. But they did it. From what I understand, they did it at like 12:30 at night. They just sent a tweet out that said, we challenge her to a debate, blah, blah, blah. It was the exact same time that she normally shoots her show and on the same day. And so that was also messed up. But basically, like, she retweeted or she tweeted back to him and was like, hey, first of all, who doesn't reach out via email or like try to figure out my schedule or set something up or whatever? And it's just totally unprofessional. It doesn't make any sense why you would do it that way, right? And so she basically accepts the debate, but then they tell her that she has to be there in person and she can't do it via Zoom or remote. And so, of course, Candace says no. And like, I don't blame her. I mean, I want to get you guys' take, and this is what we kind of want to talk about, but like, I don't blame her. Number one, in person makes it much easier for them to control the narrative and control how things are going, like control the overall flow of the conversation, what can be said, what can't be said, how it's going to be cut up, whatever. She doesn't really have nearly as much control as if she's remote and she's able to kind of do her own thing. But then the other thing, I mean, just straight up, like, I think she's just afraid for her life. I mean, they don't have the best track record of keeping people safe. Just saying. Like, valid point.
Valid point.
I don't know, man. Like, if I was her, I'm
video,
like,
there's video evidence.
They had one job, one guy.
yeah. Do you need the mic? Swing the mic.
No, I'm not. I was making.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you had one job, and you failed miserably, right? So, I mean, yeah, that's what people are saying. They want as much control as possible. Yeah, that's also what I think.
Did you mention the whole like Candace death threat thing? Like that's why she is.
Well, yeah, there's a
for her
threat
life,
on. Yeah, there's a
people might not know that, but the death threats that, or not the death threat, but she's basically saying that she can confirm that there was a hit put out on her.
Yeah, and she even said that the Trump administration knows about it, but then of course you have all these people that are trying to run cover and say that they don't know, and you have the new 15-year-olds in the press pool for the Pentagon that are claiming that she doesn't know anything, or that they don't know anything. You guys know what I'm talking about with that? The 15-year-olds in the freaking press pool, all those pro-Zionist influencers that they just put in the Pentagon press pool. Bro, the one kid legitimately looks like he's 15 years old. It's wild.
Is that the one from TPUSA?
Yeah, like him and the Epstein files have something real in common, and it's that his balls haven't dropped, just like those files haven't dropped, bro.
Yeah.
Like, homie looks like he's 15. Yeah. Let's see. I can try to find it. Let me see. Let me try to find it on here.
Stephenville, Texas. Stephenville, Texas. That's ranch country. Cowboy capital. In Stephenville, they'll tell you that it's the cowboy capital of the whole country, but there's a lot of towns that say that.
Oh, look, it's the goblin herself. People aren't seeing this right now because I'm not sharing my screen. So if you guys want to, there we go. There's Cam. But I'm trying to find this video that I was showing you guys last night because I deleted it off the actual thing. So we got to just play it here. But there, this freaking kid. Like, are you kidding me? Are we is this a joke?
He's with TPUSA.
He was, apparently. I didn't know that. But, oh, here we go. This is it right here. All right. I'm going to share my screen. Hang on a second. Right here. And then I got to turn it on because, of course, it's not going to do it the right way. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Is it this one? This one.
The biggest threat to cybersecurity in the United States?
It's a great question. There's a lot. And I think we understand now that we live in a much more digital age where we have to make sure our cybersecurity is protected. Obviously, China has been a big player in that space. There are others as well. So we're working really, really hard. We actually recently rolled out what we're calling Cybercom 2.0. And it's kind of a reinvigoration of the cyber MOS for our warfighters, those who choose to go the cyber route, whatever service they're in. We want to make sure that they're given everything they need so that they can learn the best of the best, and that they can be equipped to protect the American people from that emerging threat. It's an emerging theater. I think it's one people don't think about a lot when you think of the military, right? You don't necessarily think of cyber warfare, but it's increasingly becoming important. So it's something we're very focused on that the previous administration unfortunately wasn't as focused on. So we're playing a bit of a investment in what we're doing here, but we're going to make sure that going forward, cyber is a critical focus for the department.
Okay. A lot of Democrats seem to
like, why are these teenagers educating us on cyber warfare? What the hell is going on? Oh man, I'm trying to find.
Do you remember at the beginning of Trump's second term, they said that finally the adults are back in the White House?
Yeah.
I just find that to be so ironic.
Oh my gosh, dude, it's so true.
Yeah.
The adults are back in the White House, but we put the freaking teenagers in the Pentagon. Look at this kid, bro. Like, are we? We're the new media. We are here to stay.
This is their attempt to try to pull back the youth, to try to get the attention of the youth again.
100%. That's
Like, they're just
exactly what it
having
is.
all these young college age kids.
I'm trying to look at this. Look at this kid. I'm trying to find the one that he posted about. Oh, this one right here. This is great.
The crazy thing is they pay all of them.
That the
None of
enemy
this is organic.
neutralized. Not
Listen to
They
this.
pay, yeah.
We gotta.
It is standard procedure to make for sure that the enemy is neutralized. It is not murder when Pete Hegseth and the Department of War double tap a narcotics ship that is shipping drugs that kill Americans to America. It is not that at all. I'm here at the Pentagon reporting.
Why is this little boy
It is
educating us on standard military procedure? He even says it at the end. I'm here at the Pentagon reporting. Like, this is the greatest time of his life, dude. This is the peak of his life. But seriously, what are we doing here? What are we doing? I'm trying to find this video though that he said he literally talks about Candace Owens and he like confirms that nobody knows anything about it, but I think he might have taken it down. He might have deleted it, which means they obviously do know. The thing about Candace, dude, is this. Like, she's doing investigative reporting, and the thing is she's not always going to get everything right. And anybody that has a brain in their head understands that. Like, you're not going to get every single thing right, but you're basically just trying to figure out what the truth is. You have to explore every single avenue, right? But on top of that, it's like most of the things that she has said, she's been able to back up in some way or form. And I don't think she's stupid enough to say something like the French government is trying to kill me if it's not true. Like that, I mean, to me, that would make her literally insane. You'd have to have a screw loose to be able to say something like that and have it not be true. And on top of that, don't you think the French government would have already said something if that wasn't true?
Yeah, I mean, they're not denying it.
No.
I haven't kept up fully with like all of her tweets about it. Like, has she released like any concrete proof or anybody else?
I don't think so. I don't know. I'm not sure. I haven't followed that part, but I don't think she said anything specifically about it. And again, like, that could be for any amount of reasons. It could be that she is in contact with the administration, or she is in contact with somebody and they're saying, don't say anything else. You know what I mean? Like, keep it close to the chest, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. I really don't know. All I know is she would be an idiot to say that another country was trying to kill her and be lying about it. Especially saying that the administration knows about that. Those are two very big lies. If they're lies, you know what I mean? Like,
but this feeds back into why she doesn't want to go to Arizona to meet up with Turning Point, because she, one, fears for her safety, and two, doesn't want them to control the narrative, and they weren't willing to do a live stream with her.
Right. Yeah, they could. And then the question is like, why? Why aren't you willing to do a live stream? Right? What do you think? Why would they not be willing to do the live stream? Like, you can accomplish everything you need to accomplish in a live stream just like you can in person. Right? Am I crazy for saying that?
I mean, presumably. But
I don't see the difference. I don't see what, I mean, I like doing interviews in person, but that's because I'm like getting to know the person and it's like, it's more personal or whatever. But I don't think these guys care about getting to know Candace Owens. I think they just want her to be in person for whatever reason, but it doesn't make sense to me. To me, it's like, you should be willing to just do the live stream, right?
Somebody asked, who's really running TPUSA?
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of whistleblowers recently that have come out and said that there's definitely stuff going on in there. I mean, I've had my own insiders that since day one, they've been saying something's going on, something's fishy, and they all believe that there's corruption at the highest levels in Turning Point. And it all has to do with the money and the donors coming in. And if you look at everything else that surrounds it, like, it makes complete sense, right? The Israeli donors that Charlie was talking about before he died. Yeah. Now you have Rob McCoy, who is a staunch Zionist. You have Frank Turek. You have Mikey. You have all these people that stood to gain so much from that donor money that are now trying to push this narrative that Charlie was a Zionist and he wasn't actually turning against Israel. And they're still funding things like the geofencing campaign, and they're still funding all these other Israeli objectives, right? And projects. Why would you do that? How does that, honor Charlie's legacy. It doesn't.
The same thing with his wife.
Yeah, man.
She was doing the same thing, saying the same thing.
Yeah, but everybody grieves differently, Clyde.
I guess so. Yeah.
Stop being such an asshole, bro.
All her fake tears. It's weird to me.
That's what I said. That's honestly what I said. I just said it's weird, right? That's all I have to say about Erica is it's just weird. And if you don't think it's weird, then I think you're lying. Either you're lying or you're just
nobody can say to me.
no.
Nobody can tell me that they watched any one of her public appearances after his death and didn't like cringe. Didn't cringe at the memorial.
Or didn't at the
when
very
she came
least
out
say,
like a WWE superstar with fireworks and stuff. Didn't cringe when she came out the first time at the TPUSA studio in Arizona, and she was standing there literally like trying to make herself cry and stuff. Like I couldn't finish that video.
or at the very least, like I said, at least look at it and say like, okay, that feels kind of off, right? Even if you're not cringing, at the very least, you're looking at it and you're hearing it and you're like, either she's like, maybe she's just really awkward, but either way, you have to admit that it's either very awkward and weird, or there's something more, in my opinion. I don't know how you could watch that and think, oh yeah, that's normal.
When I saw that, I immediately thought to myself, what if I was the one who had just gotten smoked on the screen?
Yeah.
And I am able to witness my wife it was 3 days later, right?
3 days.
Making a public appearance like that with all the makeup and all the glam and all the, the studio and all that kind of stuff, doing not only keeping it together emotionally, but enough to do a really fake, phony looking appearance. How would I feel about that?
Yeah. I mean,
I would wonder how many men saw that and thought to themselves, they could see their wife doing that, acting that way. 3 days later, they could envision their wife, the mother of their children, going on a stage and behaving in that way, and then behaving in the subsequent ways that she did in the following weeks. I thought it was totally bizarre. And I'm sure most women could also not see themselves behaving that way if their husband and the father of their children just got killed. Not just killed, but in an extremely traumatic way that we all agreed, we talked about this earlier, was designed to stir the pot of America, to piss people off, to traumatize people, to scare people. Because I think we mentioned this earlier, but all of us had the experience of seeing that like actually happen.
They didn't censor it.
They didn't censor it.
No, that was the weirdest part.
Yeah,
the fact they didn't censor it.
Right.
Because
so many of my followers were telling me that was the first thing that they saw whenever they opened up Facebook or Instagram or whatever social media post.
Yeah.
Uncensored, and bam, right in their face. It was like the top of every feed. And that was, I believe, I'm 99.9% sure that was intentional. Because anytime, like we've posted other stuff that even has some level of violence, and it always gets censored, like all those drone videos that are taking place in like Ukraine-Russia war. I've posted some stuff and you have to really censor it to show anything violent. And yet that one event was really traumatizing to anyone who saw it. And it happened so fast that you don't even know it's coming.
Yeah.
You just start watching the video and then boom. So the whole thing about it was totally sketchy. And I 100% believe that was designed it was being pushed on all the algorithms to divide people, to anger people, to start getting everybody to point fingers.
They wanted them to see it.
Yes. And then the way that she operated and acted in all, not just her first appearance, but in all the subsequent appearances, was not the way someone would act.
Yeah.
If not only they had just lost their husband, but in that way, in that traumatic, damaging way, for the whole world to see. Imagine the vulnerability and the trauma that you would experience doing that. And then she's all glammed up a few days later with the lights and with the script and with the whole production team and everything like that, just doing the appearance. So everything about that was totally bizarre to me. And I don't know how anybody can defend it.
Well, I said the exact same thing. This was the tweet or the post on X that I did that went like pretty viral, like 6 million there, freaking. And I said, all I have to say, I got so much hate for this at first, but it's so funny because all the same people that gave me all the hate at the beginning have now come back and been like, all right, like it might've been like too soon, but you weren't wrong. But basically I said, all I have to say is I hope if I die, my wife actually mourns me for longer than a few days before she starts to work on my business. Because for real, bro, like,
I think I think random strangers that never met Charlie were more traumatized than she was.
Yeah.
Dude,
like, I was like shaken up for days seeing that, and I've seen some snuff videos before, but that was like super gory and in front of everybody's face.
Yeah.
I think more people that didn't even know Charlie were more traumatized than she was.
I agree.
Yeah, and
most,
I mean,
most dog owners are much more traumatized.
I
after
was
their
just
dog
gonna
dies
say that
than
because
Erica Kirk
there were
was after
people
her
that
husband died.
came out of the woodworks in the comments when I made those posts that literally said that they've mourned longer for the loss of their pets.
No doubt.
Like I had tons of people that were like, my dog died and I was wrecked for a year. Like,
And then before they even convicted this Tyler Robinson kid, she's on stage trying to write it in stone by saying, "And to the young boy that killed him, I forgive him." And she's like fake crying, bro. She's like trying to get tears to come out. And she's saying how she forgives the kid that killed him, which they didn't even know if he killed him at that point.
yeah, man. Just, I mean, like I said, if anything, it's just weird. It's just weird. But I don't know. This Candace thing is kind of perplexing to me, honestly, because I know she has a lot of information. I know that for a fact. I mean, personally, for a fact. I had a lot of information. I still have a lot of information, but like none of it is substantial enough to really pin anything on anybody. And I think that's the problem. I think that's probably the same problem that she's going through too. But at the same time, no one can deny that when she dropped that text thread between Charlie and the pastors and the executives at Turning Point and everything, it literally caught all of them in like 5 or 6 lies immediately, right? Because the fact that he was saying that he was getting pressure from the donors and they didn't want him to platform Tucker Carlson, and he was thinking about platforming Candace Owens, and then he was saying he was going to leave the Israel cause. All of those things in general, before that text thread dropped, you had Andrew Colvett going and saying that he wasn't really friends with Candace, or that they weren't like as close, and she wasn't really part of the organization and hadn't been for a while. She literally spoke at one of the women's conferences like 8 months prior to that, and she was still on the page for Blexit. Not only that, you had the pastor who was in that text thread come out and talk about how Charlie loved Israel and he was super Zionist, and how one of his last requests was that he go to Israel for him and do this mission. And then obviously the stuff about Tucker Carlson, right? And so they tried to make him out to be something he totally wasn't for the first like week and a half, 2 weeks after his death. And then sure enough, Candace drops that text thread and it's like, every single one of you are lying. And by the way, Andrew Colvett actually had to come out and say that text thread was one that he gave to the authorities, and he did not anticipate that getting out, right? And so he knew he was caught in those lies, and he had to come out and publicly announce that. And you can tell I wish I could find that. I probably have to dig for it, but like you can tell that he is just so nervous the whole time he's talking. He stumbles over his words, and like it's very clear that he did not want that to come out. And so you can't deny that she has something on them. There's something. I don't know what it is. I don't know how much it is, but like there's something there. And so I don't know. I'm not going to be the one that says that she should go in person. Like, and I'm not even trying to defend her. I'm just saying, like, I personally would not put myself near that organization in person if I was her, ever. Right?
Yeah, Charlie literally said before he got shot. I mean, obviously before he got shot, but he said, but the tweet was made before he got shot that he feared if he turned on Israel, they would kill him. And who was that tweeted that? It was his brother or something, or a friend of his.
That was no, that was Candace.
She might have retweeted it, but somebody tweeted that.
Oh,
Charlie told them that he was afraid for his life.
I don't
was
remember.
Tweeted months before.
I don't remember who it was. Oh, yes, I do. It was Owen Schroyer.
Maybe it was.
Owen Schroyer was the one that brought that up. Or it was either Owen Schroyer or Harrison Smith. It was one of them.
It was somebody that Charlie knew personally.
It was one of the InfoWars guys that brought that up and said, I have information that Charlie thought his life was in danger and he was getting multiple death threats. I actually think it was Harrison Smith. Harrison, if you're watching this right now, comment. I think it was Harrison.
Someone just said that Harrison Smith.
Boom. I knew it. Harrison's my boy, dude. I love Harrison. He's a good dude. Yeah, I knew it was one of them.
Can we talk about what's the bottom one? Can we talk about TPUSA scrubbing? Where'd it go?
Yeah, here. Okay. So can we talk about TPUSA scrubbing everything from Charlie's podcast prior to his assassination? This is extremely bizarre. I heard this too, but I haven't confirmed this. And I don't know if it's true because even after his assassination, I was still able to find a lot of stuff. So I don't know if this, like, does anybody else have any more information on this one? Because I don't know. I don't know if this one's been confirmed.
I'm not sure.
I know they've scrubbed a lot of stuff since, though.
They scrubbed the freaking crime scene.
Yeah.
Like, quite literally.
The previous comment right immediately before that one is interesting.
Okay, so we'll put this one up. Are we just gonna? And by the way, guys, if you just real quick, if you're not subscribed to my YouTube and to Clyde's YouTube, please do that. Please follow us on Instagram. I'll put the handles up in a minute. And if you want to throw a super chat up, we will answer all the super chats personally at the end of this. And we just appreciate you guys. We appreciate the support. So this one says, and are we just going to ignore the fact that George Zinn immediately raised his hand and said he did it? It's like everyone just said whoops and moved on. He immediately started waving his hand. Yeah, the thing about George Zinn, though, is it's not just weird that he stood up and raised his hand. He was also in 9/11. They proved that he was one of the people that was in 9/11. And somehow, I can't remember the exact connection, but he was like somehow connected to 9/11. The other thing is, all of the distractions, like the George Zinns and all those, they were in front of Charlie. So they immediately stood up in front of him. But the narrative that we've heard is that he was shot from the front, right? Everybody's saying that he was shot right in the neck from the front, which I personally don't believe. We've talked about this. I think it's much more plausible that he was shot from his fore. It was a smaller caliber, went in his neck, came out. That was an exit wound. Hit his spine going in, made him tense up. I think that's ultimately what happened. And I think the shooter was behind him. I think the shooter was like, again, at his four or at his five. But it is weird that all the distractions were actually right in front of Charlie. Like immediately, the guys that stood up, the guys that were waving their hands and everything.
As though it was rehearsed.
Not only that, but you would do that to be able to let the guy behind you get away faster and pull all the attention that way. Right? But I don't know.
Or it could have been this squid. I think that's a possibility. It could have been the mic.
I don't.
You don't?
No, and I'll tell you why. Because I use these mics like crazy. And they're only held on by a clip or a magnet. If that thing had a projectile in it, or if it was exploding, it would have come flying off his shirt, and it didn't. It didn't come off his shirt. If you actually watch the video, it didn't come off his shirt. Well, it just flew up.
Maybe, unless it was like a 22 or something. I don't know. But he didn't have these ones. These are smaller. He had the bigger one.
That, even more to my point, though, an even bigger one would be harder, or would be easier to pull off. Like, let's say, like your DJI. Let's say you had your DJI and you put it right here. If I just went like this with my shirt, that sucker would go flying. There's no question about it. I know this because I've done it before, and I actually lost one of these because I did it. I was like trying to prove a point, and it freaking flew off, and I had no idea where it went. I was looking for it for days. So I know that it would come off. It's not like it's clipped on there with a safety pin or something. Like it's only on there with either a magnet or just the plastic clip itself. If there's a projectile in that thing, it's going to the moon. Also, when you wear a mic on you, right? How would you normally position your mic? If you're going to put a mic on your chest, how's it positioned?
What do you mean? The part that picks up the sound would be facing me.
Exactly. But it'll be straight up, right? If you put a mic on, it's not going to be like this. You're going to have it.
But that's how it was on his shirt.
No, it was kind of
angled.
That's what I'm saying. According to them, like I when I wear a mic, I don't wear it angled. I wear it straight up. So I just feel like the trajectory would have been off too, but I don't know.
Yeah, maybe, but it just looked like that's the way his neck went and his shirt was moving. And I don't see where another shooter would have been or how he would have been able to get it. Even if another shooter was behind him and had a suppressor, like somebody's going to hear that. Or there was plenty of cameras. I think Ian Carroll was doing an analysis. He was like showing the little blip.
He was there. He went there.
Ian Carroll went there?
Yeah, he went to campus, to UVU campus. Because it's only 3.5 hours from here.
Wow.
Yeah. And he was on the campus and he looked all around and everything. The other thing about the roof that he was that Tyler was supposedly on, like it's so easy to get to it. You basically just walk up a staircase and jump over a balcony and you're on the roof. It's like complete easy access. So
yeah,
there's just so many things that don't make sense with that. And that's always been my argument. At the end of the day, I don't know exactly what happened, but I'll just tell you guys this. And I've said this so many times, I'm a broken record at this point, but it's like, if any piece of it made sense, any piece of the official narrative, right? If any of it made sense, even just one thing, it would be like, okay, all right, let's explore that, right? But nothing, not one part of the official narrative, not from when the shooting happened to afterwards, to the cleanup, to the bullet, to the caliber, to the miracle bullet and the Man of Steel, to the camera thing, or to the freaking footage being taken, the whole place being paved back up, the tunnel being redone. Like, I can keep going. Tyler supposedly going to a gas station and a Taco Bell, the disassembling and the reassembling of a rifle, and then perfectly putting the scope back together so he could shoot under pressure, and then taking it off again, and then putting it back on and jumping off the building and somehow having it in his pants, and then reassembling it and putting the shit in the trees. Like, come on.
Don't forget his very boomer-esque love
Oh,
letters
yeah, dude,
to
the
his-
love note, my love. The note to my love.
This
How
is-
could
yeah,
you forget
this
that,
is
dude?
totally
To his
unbelievably
trans
bizarre.
lover, who, by
Yeah.
the way, the trans lover's gone.
Yeah,
The trans lover just
just
disappeared.
vaporized from
We
the
have
narrative.
they
Yeah.
literally said it just disappeared. we have no idea where them went.
Yeah.
Where did they
Yeah.
them go, dude?
So
They
in the
them
middle,
bounced.
yeah, in the middle of all of that, he took the time to
But-
write these long-winded Shakespearean love songs to his trans lover.
Not to mention,
Everything
dude,
about it is
Not to
so
mention, dude,
bizarre.
that whole thing reeked of AI. Like, I don't know if you guys saw this, but me and my buddy looked that we plugged that letter into an AI generator and asked it if it was AI, and it spit it out. It said it was 100% AI. And then, I'm not kidding, 6 hours later, after we posted that video and it went like pretty semi-viral, it would only spit out that it wasn't AI, and it was like, oh, it might be, but this it totally changed its tune. And we tried to do it multiple times to see if it was maybe just like a glitch. No, over and over and over and over. But you cannot tell me. Can we pull that letter up? Let's pull that letter up. Pull it up and just read it. Because if you read that thing, you cannot tell me it's not AI. And to me, it reeks of some boomer that like got their hands on AI and was like, yeah, this is a good idea. This is what we're gonna do. And then they brought it to the table with all the other boomers, and they're like, guys, they're totally gonna fall for this.
Where did they find the letter again? Wasn't it like in his house?
Yeah, dude. With grandpa's rifle.
Neatly packaged.
Yeah. Neatly packaged with fingerprints perfectly put on. Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Like that's what I'm saying. It's just and then to go from there, everything that followed and everything that happened after. I mean, literally nothing makes sense. And then on top of that, and I've said this so many times too, like if you want to convince people that there's nothing nefarious going on and there's nothing more to the original story, you don't pave over the crime scene less than 24 hours later. You sure as hell don't put sweeping gag orders on every single law enforcement that was there, including any potential witness that comes forward within 3,000 attendees. And then you definitely don't request that there's no cameras in the courtroom. All three of those things are major red flags for me, guys. I don't know. I'm just a conspiracy theorist, but like,
Did Tyler get convicted?
I don't even know, bro. That's how
I haven't
stupid this
heard
is.
of any updates on that guy in
The last I
since the month
heard,
it happened.
the last I heard, he didn't plead guilty. The last I heard, he wasn't willing to cooperate or something like that.
Whereas, like, we're literally still getting updates with this Luigi Magnioni guy,
Oh, not only that,
which
yes,
nobody fucking cares about except for like all the liberal girls online.
bro, not only that, just yesterday we found out all of a sudden now who the pipe bomber was from January 5th. You remember that? The pipe bomb that was left in the Congress building and freaking in the Senate building in January 5th before January 6th. It kind of got swept under the rug. Like nobody really paid attention to it, but that happened literally the day before January 6th. And it was this ongoing thing. Well, just yesterday, all of a sudden now they have all this information that they just found, and they know exactly who the pipe bomb person was. And they ended up being like part of the security detail or something like that. Let me pull it up. Hang on. Let's stop just trying to like speculate.
I'm
gonna
pretty
pull
sure
it all
there
up.
was an FBI or some federal law
Yes.
enforcement press release talking about it.
Yes.
Almost basically bragging
Yeah.
about how their incredible
It was
investigative
Cash. It was
abilities.
Cash Patel.
Yeah, I think it was.
Yeah, he
Bragging
was,
about how their amazing investigative abilities
Yeah.
after going back through and analyzing, millions of data points and lines of code.
oh, this is
Well, okay.
this is too good. You have Benny Johnson, bro. Of course you have Benny Johnson. This is Benny Johnson's tweet. This fruitcake. The January 5th pipe bomber, the terrorist, was a young black guy, radical anti-Trump activist, sued Trump and ICE and DHS, extreme racial justice advocate, works at his family bail bonds company that frees criminal aliens from ICE custody. Yeah, this explains exactly why the FBI and DOJ could not find this guy for 4 years. The Biden FBI had mountains of evidence against Biden, Cole, receipts, cell data. They knew exactly who did it, but actually, he's actually going against this. But Brian's profile, I'm surprised, destroys their entire MAGA. Oh, no, he's not. No, he's not. He's pushing against this. Sorry. Brian's profile destroys their entire MAGA white supremacist insurrection bomber narrative in one blow. So basically, this all blows up the Democrat narrative, of course, because it's the Republican narrative that's the truth. The FBI didn't fail to catch him. Leftists protected their own. This is the biggest FBI cover-up scandal in history. What a nightmare. Okay.
Yeah. Can we just hone in on the fact that this is the biggest FBI scandal cover-up in history? It's not COINTELPRO. It's not the JFK assassination.
This is him, dude.
It's not 9/11. It's not the fact that J. Edgar Hoover was a drag queen and gay lover for decades. This is the biggest scandal. This is the biggest cover-up in all of FBI history.
This is the biggest scandal right here, guys.
Forget about all that other stuff. It
right
pales
here
in comparison.
Yep. This is it, guys. Oh, here we go. Thomas Massey, GOAT. 3 things I'll never believe about the January 5/6 pipe bomb story. The bomber was a lone wolf. FBI was this incompetent for 4 years in a case this consequential. Perpetrators were pro-Trump. Yup. Only freaking patriot left in Congress right there. This is him, guys. This is him. Comes from a BLM family, of course. But again, the reason why I bring this up is because isn't it just so convenient that all these other things are just kind of being swept under the rug as we learn about the pipe bomber from January 6th?
You mentioned something about Cash Patel. I wanted to ask you guys, do you guys notice how anytime Cash Patel is talking, it looks like he has a gun held to the back of his head? Like, you notice that?
Yes, he does look like he's massively under duress.
Yeah.
Clyde. We are doing a great job. We got this down.
He's like
Just
looking around
beady
like
eyes.
this. His neck doesn't move. He's like looking around like this.
And even when he's standing behind people, like
bro.
when he's standing behind
Every
the person
time-
talking, he's like,
It's like when he was talking about the
it's like cracked out.
Charlie Kirk thing, he was like so nervous, and he's like, "We'll see you in Valhalla, brother."
Yeah.
And he's just looking around every time he talks. And same thing, I say the same thing about RFK. I think both of them are blackmailed. I mean, every time they talk, it sounds like they don't even want to be saying the words coming out of their mouth. Do you guys? Pick
I
up on
agree.
that?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, dude. Wait, hold on. I just saw it really briefly, but the beginning of this. Wait for it.
So they're saying the evidence is from 6-7 months before the election that he's now mad when it wasn't even controversy until November.
It didn't show it. It was a whatchamacallit, a screenshot of Steve Urkel. Because this picture right here of him, it was Steve Urkel instead of him. Anyway, all right. So yeah, all this stuff just seems to come out conveniently right now, as all these other things are just getting swept under the rug. So let's talk about all the other things. What are all the other things? Well, we still don't know what's going on with this Tyler Robinson guy. We still don't know anything about the official, like what actually happened to Charlie, even though people want to pretend they do. Supposedly Candace Owens has a freaking assassination attempt on her life that nobody really wants to talk about, and that apparently she's just lying about. What else? We just bombed narco ships in Venezuela, even though I read somewhere today. I actually think I think I posted this. Let me pull it up real quick. The percentage of, because according to Cash and the government, these ships are carrying tons and tons of drugs into the United States of America. So we obviously have to destroy them, right?
They bombed the civilian boat.
Except I read this today. I'm pretty sure I posted it. Let me just make sure. Let's see. Where is it? Oh, no, that's not there. Oh, right here. Based on the DEA's, let me zoom in, guys. Based on the DEA's 2005 National Drug Threat Assessment and reports of CFR and NYT, Venezuela accounts for less than 1% of the fentanyl entering the U.S., if any. It's not a production of major transit point. Most is made in Mexico with precursors from China.
Look up their oil production right now. This is actually incredible.
Look up
You're going to be shocked at what country they produce more oil than.
Venezuela.
Look it up.
No, I'm not. I'm not going to be shocked at all.
There's one country that we all know produces a shit ton of oil, right? In the Middle East.
Freaking what? Yeah. All right, here we go.
Their production's not high. Their reserves are higher.
Reserves, yeah.
Yeah, their production is low, but obviously they want to go in there and crank that shit up.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like that's the reason why we do anything. Here, just do Venezuela oil production. All right, let's see what will come up. Here we go. Venezuela leads the world in proven oil reserves, 303 billion barrels, but ranks 10th in production, 892,000 barrels a day in 2025. Replacing Maduro and the pro-Western president would harm China's interests.
More than Saudi Arabia.
I was going to say, is it more than Saudi?
Yes.
That's wild. But I'm not surprised at all. Oh, here you go. Well, no, this doesn't say that.
Oh, maybe it was a different metric.
You have to not look at production with Venezuela. You have to look at reserves.
Reserves.
Their reserves are the largest in the world. Their production is relatively low because basically their whole oil production infrastructure has been hollowed out as a result of the socialist regime taking over and kicking out the American oil companies that were drilling and maintaining all of.
Oh yeah, there you go. Venezuela has the
expensive,
largest proven
equipment.
oil reserves,
Right.
estimated at 303 billion barrels.
So think about the gap there. We have the highest reserves, but relatively low production. There's this big gap there that obviously could be filled if the Maduro regime was removed from power and the American companies could go back in like they used to and start exploiting those oil reserves.
That's what I saw. Go back to that chart.
This one?
That's what I saw.
It's reserves. Yeah. So look at the massive gap between their
Yeah, they have
production
more
and their
than Saudi
reserves.
Arabia.
Right. Yeah, they do. They have the largest reserves in the
So
world.
if you look at the top, I don't know if you guys can see that, but they have more reserves than Saudi Arabia on this chart. By how much? A decent margin.
Yeah. Jeez. And Iran, dude. Like, that's crazy, bro.
All of the Middle Eastern countries, even Kuwait, all of the Middle Eastern countries, even Russia.
Wow.
So
Wow.
I
Also,
haven't looked-
isn't there
have you-
something to be
have-
said about the fact that Venezuela is like one of the last countries left that's not in the central banking system? And then there's something about Sudan also being one of those countries. And like, weirdly enough, Sudan's being completely destroyed right now. Christians are being mowed down, and you can see the blood splatters like from the satellite imagery. That's one thing. And then of course we have Venezuela now right on its way to be another enemy. Is that just coincidence, guys?
Raw democracy.
Yeah. Let's see if that comes up. Countries not on central banking system. What do you guys think? Put it in the comments. And again, if you are here, I think I saw there's 530 people watching right now. Please subscribe to my YouTube, Clyde's YouTube. Make sure you follow us on Instagram. Here, I'll post these really quick.
well, it's the UAE that's profiting off of the gold in Sudan. I don't think so much as oil, but I think it was like $200 billion of gold in 20 some. I'm forgetting the statistic, but
Here's our Instagram handles, guys. Follow us on Instagram. Also, I think they're the same as Twitter or X. And then please make sure you subscribe. And then if you want to throw some questions in the super chats, we will answer those before we end this tonight. So if you want to, if you have a specific question, you want to have us kind of talk about it and go over it, just throw it in the super chats. Okay. So Russia is one. Let's see. What do we got here? Russia is one of them. I mean, we knew that. Let's see. Oh, here we go. This is what I saw. I don't know if this is true or not, but I kind of want to like verify it. But the 7 countries in the world that do not have A banking system owned and controlled by the Rothschild dynasty. I don't even know how to say that word. Bolivia, Cuba, Iran, North Korea, Syria, and Russia. Is that true? You guys know?
I've seen that too.
That's
but
2023.
I wouldn't bet my life on it, but I've seen that published various places.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is another one. This was I think I saw this one too in 2000 in December. Afghanistan, Iraq, Sudan, Libya, Cuba, North Korea, Iran, Syria, Venezuela. Those are all different countries. That's why I'm like,
yeah, Russia's not on that list.
what is the truth there? Because if that's the list,
that's basically a list of America's enemies.
I was just gonna say, if you look at that list,
those are all the bad guys.
Those are all the bad guys. I mean, there's one bad guy that's not in there, but it's really interesting that he's not in there because of who's in power right now, right? Current administration isn't super at odds with Mr. Putin over there, but it's interesting that in 2023 he was on that list.
Right.
2025 he is not on that list.
Yeah.
Who's on that list? Just saying.
So with respect to Venezuela, so Venezuela is obviously in South America, and there's a major push right now by the Trump administration to pretty much reorganize all the entire geopolitical paradigm of all of Latin America from Mexico south. It's not just Venezuela. So we all know there's this huge military buildup, and it seems to be concentrated around Venezuela, and they're doing the whole drug bust thing. We know that. There's a whole lot more than that going on, though. All of Latin America is being reshaped. So we have the election interference that took place recently with Argentina, right? Javier Milei, whose real last name, by the way, is not Milei, it's Milei-Kowski.
Milei-Kowski,
and Milei-Kowski is the same last name as Benjamin Netanyahu's actual last name.
Yes.
So he's not only a Jew.
Oh, and he's super Zionist.
Yeah, of course.
Out of the gate, he had the Israeli flag draped around him.
Of course he is. He's not only a Jew, but he literally has the same last name as Netanyahu. That's kind of weird. And as a result of that connection, Trump, when they were having their recent election, Trump literally went in and basically said, we're going to extend to you guys a $20 billion lifeline, which they desperately need because their currency they've had hyperinflation for a long time. Then Trump also pitched another $20 billion that was going to be put together by private bankers that would only be extended to Argentina if Milei won. Yeah, that was literally published on social media. It's blatant, naked election interference, and nobody gives a shit. Let's continue, because it's not just these two countries. Also, very recently, Bolivia had an election, and Trump also said made them basically the same deal. There's been Trump didn't, but there was a very obvious recent push to get a right-wing populist government in there. I don't remember the guy's name at the moment, but it's like all of a sudden Bolivia is turning very right-wing. What does Bolivia have? They don't have oil, but they have among the world's largest lithium reserves. So lithium mining is a huge untapped industry in Bolivia. Of course, and the United States has been on an absolute tear
because of the push for everything electric.
Right.
Yeah. So Teslas and everything else.
It's worse than Teslas. It's weaponry.
It's weaponry.
Drones are going to be the next huge push.
It already is. It already is. I mean, you look at this is what you and I were talking about with the Ukraine the Ukraine Russia situation, and how we were talking about with Charlie Kirk. They allowed that assassination to be seen by everybody, right? I can't tell you how many times I've posted a video from drone warfare with Ukraine of like the drones coming in at the guy and then just
it's instantly censored.
It gets censored almost instantly. It has a freaking thing on it that says this is depicting graphic imagery or whatever, and you have to click on it to see
and
it.
Yet the whole world
saw this dude's neck explode
yes.
and bleed all over the chair.
Yes, the whole world. Like, kids, old people all over the world instantly saw it. Yeah,
it's like, and the other thing too is it's like, okay, so is the argument, well, it was so fast we couldn't really like get to it, censor it fast enough. No, because that's not how it works. The censorship works to catch it. It catches it no matter what. So like the videos I'm posting from Ukraine, they're posted the day of. It's not like I'm not posting a video that happened like 3 weeks ago. This is a video that somebody posts on a war channel that's that day, right? And so it's not like you can use the argument of, oh, well, it happened so fast we couldn't get to it, we couldn't censor it fast enough. No. That's not how it works.
No, that's not how it works.
You don't push a button and censor everything. It's already censored. Yeah. So the fact that it wasn't censored is proof that they wanted everybody to see it.
Yeah.
Why did they want everybody to see it?
They let it fly.
Exactly.
They wanted it to
100%, dude.
Anyway, back to South America. So you have this whole reorganization of all of South America. So you've got Bolivia is being shaken up. Chile is about to have an election, a presidential election. the Chilean right-wing populist government is being propped up by Trump also. That's another big new thing that's happening there. And they're actually a big part of the reason that the right wing is taking control in Chile is because they're blaming a bunch of Venezuelan immigrants for coming in and taking all their jobs. Where have we heard that before, right? So then you have Colombia. Colombia has recently drawn the ire of the Trump administration. And we're being told it has to do with the drug boats, you know, just like Venezuela and whatever. And some of the drug boats that have been taken out by the U.S. military are Colombian. Most of them are Venezuelan, but some are Colombian.
Yeah.
It just so happens also that Colombia has one of the only leaders in Latin America who is openly anti-Zionist and openly critical of Israel. The only other one being Maduro of Venezuela. And then you also have Mexico. Mexico recently has been sort of negotiating with the Trump administration to try to get their tariffs, maintained at a low pace. Mexico just extradited, I think, 55 of the highest level cartel members from all cartels. They extradited them in secret operations that are way more complex than we even saw in the movie Sicario, if you guys saw that.
Dude, that movie is awesome.
It is
Both
an awesome
movies
movie.
are awesome.
But you know what's even crazier than that? The actual real life operations they had to actually fly these people in like unmarked military jets in the middle of the night. Over 2,000 Mexican special operations soldiers took part in these operations to extradite 55 cartel leaders from all cartels
What is
out
it?
of Mexico.
Can we look this up?
Yeah, this was just recently reported this week by the Wall Street Journal.
Okay, hold on.
And I'm going to plug my group right now because the reason I know so much about this is because of my occult finance group that I run. For my followers, I have a group. It's a private members only group, but I follow all of the developments that are not being published in the news. They're not common narratives. They're stuff kind of behind the scenes. And I try to figure out what's really going on with that stuff for investment purposes specifically.
What should I type in specifically? What am I searching for?
You should look for extradition of 55 cartel members to the United States from Mexico.
Extradition.
I believe this was an exclusive reporting by the Wall Street Journal that took place earlier this week.
Cartel.
So it could be, the article might be behind a paywall. But.
Mexico. Okay, hold on. I'm going to take this off real quick and then reshare. Hang on, guys. Here we go. Boom.
So there is a large scale reshaping of all of Latin America right now that is taking place by the Trump administration. The Trump administration is deploying massive amounts of military assets into the region. They're deploying massive amounts of money, tens of billions of dollars. They're deploying a tremendous amount of pressure. And who is chiefly considered to be the villains in all of Latin America is the leaders who are anti-Zionist and anti-Israel. And who are getting the most beneficial, favorable treatment is the ones that are literally Jewish, which is already very bizarre that we have Jewish leaders of Latin American countries, because Latin American countries are traditionally Catholic and Catholic is traditionally anti-Jewish. Very bizarre that in Mexico, you have an over 85% Catholic population. And yet there's 0.0015% of the country is Jewish, and now you have a Jewish president.
Well, and that huge
after 38 other candidates were assassinated in that election,
and there was that huge uprising because of that, because of the
Recently.
Jewish candidate. I saw those. Okay, Mexico recently completed a mass transfer of 55 high-profile cartel leaders to the United States across 2 separate operations in 2025. Dude, Cato brings his freaking receipts, man. It's true. The extraditions involved leaders from the Sinaloa cartel and the Jalisco New Generation cartel, among others. Details of extraditions. The transfer occurred in 2 main phases. February 2025, 29 wanted defendants were transferred to U.S. custody. This group included notorious figures such as Rafael Caro Quintero, who was wanted for 1985 murder of DEA agent Enrique Kiki Camarena, and the brothers Miguel Angel and Omar Trevino Morales, former leaders of the Los Zetas cartel. August 2025, an additional 26 individuals described as capos, mid-level operators, were extradited to the U.S. The operation was high-stakes undercover mission involving thousands of Mexican special forces, as officials feared escaped attempts, prison riots, and assassination attempts by the cartels to prevent their leaders from spilling secrets to U.S. law enforcement. Holy shit. That's crazy, bro. That's freaking crazy.
I'm not that well educated on this topic specifically. So, like, what's the main incentive?
An unprecedented number of high-profile targets sent to the U.S. this year has been described as a major victory for law enforcement and reflects increased bilateral cooperation. I'm not falling for that.
Like, what's the main
Zero
incentive?
chance,
Resources?
Yeah, resources. So the United States is massively building itself up. I've been saying this. The United States is in a war economy right now. They're already in a war economy. They're building up for future conflict. Is this conflict going to happen? Is it going to be engineered? You know, whatever. We don't know. But the United States is very much building up for conflict. There's many, many indications of that. And I've been very strongly recommending that people invest in the economy as though it's a war economy. So defense stocks and also various types of resources that are associated with that. So the United States has been massively pushing rare earths, lithium, and a return to oil and natural gas. And they want to control these resources, and they're getting control of it by any means necessary. So any country that has high levels of rare earths, lithium or natural gas or oil, they are going to be on the United States' hit list, especially if they're in the United States' backyard, which since the days of the Monroe Doctrine has been Latin America.
Would Colombia be part of that?
Colombia, I'm not sure what they have in terms of those specific resources. They're obviously a very large and powerful country in South America, but I don't know if they have those.
I just saw
specific
something
resources.
super interesting that I was going to pull up. Let me pull this up real quick because I saw this and I was like, wait, what is this? I don't even know what this is. I'm just full disclosure. I just read it really quick and I'm pulling it up, but it says Colombia President Petro, a clan of pedophiles wants to destroy our democracy to keep Epstein's list from coming out. They send warships to kill fishermen and threaten our neighbor with invasion for their oil. They want to turn the region into another Libya full of slaves. This is November 30th, guys.
Very recent.
Un clan de pedófilos quiere acabar la democracia en Colombia. Duro, sí, pero ahí está la realidad. Y para que no salga la lista, entonces nos envían acorazados a matar pescadores de esta ciudad.
I speak Spanish, by the way. This is 100%.
Y amenazar al vecino.
Speak Spanish. I was pretty
Que
impressed.
si dictador o no, ¿cómo que el pueblo de Colombia va a aplaudir que invadan a su hermano, que no es el presidente, sino el pueblo de Venezuela? ¿Cuándo? Seríamos así de traidores y de vendidos, de que nuestra propia sangre la traicionamos, o el pueblo del Ecuador, o el pueblo de Panamá, o el pueblo de Venezuela no es nuestro propio pueblo. Y entonces quieren que el presidente haga lo que quería hacer Duque. Cobarde, prestar las tierras de Colombia para que desde ahí se invadiera a un país hermano que tiene la misma historia que nosotros, porque allá nació Bolívar y vino a morir aquí, en esta ciudad. No se puede.
I want to share something.
Presidente de Colombia que haga eso, presidente maldito por las generaciones
Whenever you're ready.
Okay.
futuras, porque nunca será olvidado como un traidor. Y yo no pertenezco a los que querían matar a Bolívar. El gobierno de Venezuela ha hecho muchas críticas, pero no me burlo del pueblo de Venezuela ni construyo una trampa para que caiga el pueblo de Venezuela en la trampa de una invasión que solo va por su petróleo.
There it is.
Of course.
Que se quiere es codicia y violencia más para hacer de esta esquina hermosa del continente suramericano una Siria, un Irak, una Libia llena de esclavos, de venta de esclavos de nuevo negros.
Bro,
No.
Epstein's
La
list.
lista de los amigos de Stein, que no quiere que aparezca la lista en los Estados Unidos, nos quiere utilizar aquí con la violencia para que el pueblo de los Estados Unidos no piense en su propio gobierno, sino que se le suba la xenofobia, el racismo, las ideas de la raza superior y otras ideas falsas, y nos usan para no discutir sus propios problemas. Presidente de Colombia lo que ha hecho es denunciar narcotraficantes durante décadas. Y los narcotraficantes que ha denunciado siempre estuvieron en el poder político de Colombia, en el Estado.
Bro,
So there's a few really interesting things here.
let me spotlight you. And again, guys, I speak Spanish 100%. That's what he just said. That wasn't
I
like a
also
false
speak Spanish, and
translation.
that-
It was
yes,
100%
100%.
true. Every single piece of that was 100% true. Okay, I'm going to spotlight you. Hold up. Go ahead.
So he said he said a bunch of things there, and there's a little bit I want to unpack there because it's really relevant. But one of the things he mentioned was that that Colombia has been combating narco traffickers for many decades.
Yep.
Very recently, Colombia decided to cut off its intelligence sharing apparatus with the United States military because Colombia has an intelligence sharing agreement that goes back decades to give them intelligence on the movements of narco trafficking cartels. Out of all the intelligence that the US military gets from South America, what percentage do you think comes from Colombia?
The majority?
It's about 80 to 85%.
What?
Yeah.
80%?
Yeah, you can look that up. That was also just
And they
recently
shut it
reported.
down.
They shut it down.
What?
And probably the reason they shut it down is because, well, I mean, it's not probably. I know that the stated reason.
So what do I type in?
Colombia intelligence sharing, narco trafficking intelligence sharing with U.S. military. So they just shut it down recently, I think in the last couple of weeks. And the reason was because, that's obviously a problem. Like, you're cutting off the U.S. military. You're going to make enemies, right? You're going to piss people off.
Dude, you're not kidding.
But
Holy
the reason is because they were using that to do extrajudicial killings on these, fishermen boats. They're civilians, and they're using the world's most powerful military airstrikes.
Dude, yeah, right there.
To take out boats, to blow up boats. And that's really pissing off a lot of the world. It's really pissing a lot of the world in South America, because these people are seeing the world's most powerful military use its multi-million-dollar jets and multi-million-dollar missiles shooting, boats that we're told are narco traffickers, but really, like, we don't know, right? These people are they're being executed. And back when the Obama administration was executing people with the drones and whatever, there was Republicans all pissed off about that. And now that the Republicans are doing it, it's the same stupid bullshit. But that really pisses off people, because Colombia is giving up so much intelligence to the U.S. military, and it's being used in this way that they consider to be very malevolent and diabolical and very anti-democratic, right? You can say whatever you want about Colombia, but they perceive themselves to have a democratic government. And when they are sharing a tremendous amount of intelligence with the U.S. military, and they're using it to execute people and just saying, yeah, they were bad. I mean, we know they were bad. That's all we need to know. We blew them up. That's not democratic. That's not the rule of law. You no longer have constitutional protections, and you no longer have a
military times.
Process.
This one will get you. Colombia to suspend intelligence sharing with U.S. boat strikes.
That just happened.
Colombia,
and at the same
Colombian
time,
president.
This guy Petro, now he's being called a narco terrorist.
I heard that. Yeah, I was just going to say that. I heard that in the news the other day. They were saying that he's like a straight up terrorist.
He's a kingpin. They're literally lumping him in with Venezuela. Yeah, they're lumping him in with Venezuela, saying he's a narco terrorist kingpin.
And I honestly read that and I was like, okay, whatever. I just believed it.
Right.
Colombian President Gustavo Petro ordered his nation's security forces Tuesday to stop sharing intelligence with the United States until the Trump administration stops its strikes on suspected drug traffickers in the Caribbean, as relations deteriorate between the nations that were once close partners in the fight against drug trafficking. Dude. So Petro wrote that Colombia's military must immediately end communications and other agreements with U.S. security agencies until the U.S. ceases the attacks on speedboats suspected of carrying drugs that critics have likened into extrajudicial executions. Dude,
and their relationship
now it's
goes
happening
back
in Venezuela.
Decades.
What?
Their relationship goes with the United States security
forever.
It goes back decades. It's not a new thing.
Dude, that's crazy. So it's not just Venezuela. It's Venezuela. It's freaking Colombia. What else? Who else? Mexico,
Venezuela, and Colombia are basically being cast as the enemy rogue regimes. The narco terrorist regimes that need to be taken out.
Oh, here it is.
The rest, yeah,
here it is.
Yeah, like the Gaddafis. Yeah.
Here it is. Petro has called for U.S. President Donald Trump to be investigated for war crimes over the strikes which have affected citizens in Venezuela, Ecuador, Colombia, Trinidad, and Tobago.
Right. So Venezuela and Colombia are being cast, like you said, as the Gaddafis. They're being cast as the Gaddafis, the Saddam Husseins. That back then it was terrorism, supporting terrorism. Now it's supporting narco terrorism. It's just the same tired ass narrative being used over and over again for the United States to take out its rival regimes, those that are criticized of it, and getting in the way of its plundering of resources. Then at the same time, you have basically a conquest that I call Jewish conquest, because it's not with military, it's usually with money, but of other countries in Latin America, like I said, Bolivia, Chile, Argentina, and Mexico. Mexico is kind of in between, because they're trying to use a lot of leverage on Mexico. Obviously, got a Jewish president in Mexico, so there's probably going to be a lot of cooperation there. But there was a lot of tariffs that were being threatened against Mexico. They didn't want to do that. So what they've been doing is basically handing over all these cartel people, which the United States has been wanting for a long time. And Mexico does not traditionally have a very good extradition relationship with the United States. They don't like to extradite to the United States. So the fact that they finally gave them all these super powerful cartel members, like across the board, it's like the top levels of all the cartels. And they actually chose them specifically to make sure that no cartel felt like it was being favored. So they kind of distributed them evenly. So that's showing that the United States is exerting a lot of pressure on the Mexican government. And that's because the United States is reshaping all of geopolitics in all of Latin America. Because the United States is considered Latin America, it's kind of its backyard, but really it's its place to plunder and to steal and to, to victimize the people of the entire continent since the days of the Monroe Doctrine. It basically claims that because it's south of us, they can do whatever the fuck they want. They've been doing that for a long time.
That's crazy. Jeez. Clyde, what do you think? What are you doing over there? You just chilling?
Yeah, no, I'm learning. This is news to me. I didn't know most of this. So
It's interesting shit, right?
yeah, this is something I'm going to start diving into deeper myself. Try to start covering it myself because I only know like the bare minimum, honestly. And nobody talks about it. Like nobody that I know, other than you now, is talking about this.
I talk about it every day in my groups.
Dude, that's why I freaking love Cato. That's why Cato's here, man. Like, guys, if you're not following Cato, make sure you do. I mean, Cato does some of the best research, like content. It's thick. I mean, it's thick like Cato, but
Yeah.
but like you gotta follow him, man, and check it out because it's awesome. It's really, really well researched. And I literally in 3 days, have you been here for 3 days now? 2 days? 3 days, every single thing he said, I have basically fact checked you on every single thing, and every single thing is there. Every single thing. And I'm not even doing it at this point like to fact check him. I'm just doing it to prove to everybody else that he freaking knows his stuff. It's crazy, dude. Go follow Cato.
There's been a few things that I said that you were like, no way. There's no way.
Yeah, I don't remember what it was. There was a couple things though.
Yeah.
Oh,
you look it up.
The one thing was the freaking LGBTQ flag in Russia.
That blew your mind. Yeah.
Bro, that one was wild.
Yeah.
I can't. So
I think you have to share that with the live stream.
Yeah,
Because we were talking about how, if you want, we were talking about how, Jews are the people who are typically involved in pushing all of the very progressive movements in the United States.
yeah, that was
When you look behind all of the different movements like the feminism movement, LGBT, pushing for the liberation, because porn used to be illegal in the United States, and then it was made, it was made legal and then proliferated. That was done by the original person who sued the U.S. government was a Jew, and then it was pushed by all these Jews, right?
Well, but
So you have all these progressive things. But we were talking about the different places in the world where Jews had been offered to have their own state. Israel was the worst possible option, but all the great powers of that time offered Jews their own state. One of them was in Russia, and it's called the Jewish Autonomous Oblast.
yeah,
And it has a flag. It is a little country.
But here's the crazy thing too. The reason why I was so floored is because we're always talking about how, or Israel's always talking about how they have to have the Jewish state or whatever, right?
Right.
What I didn't know, and what you told me, and what we just figured out, and what you're all about to figure out, is that there is a Jewish state,
There has
another
been for a
one,
long time.
and it's been there forever in Russia. It's
And
literally,
there were several others that were proposed, but
Yes.
this one actually exists. and
but
it's
we
real
just
and it's sitting
conveniently skip over this one, and
Yeah.
I'll show you why people conveniently
there.
skip over this.
So let's
one.
look at their flag.
So this place is real, 100%. This is a Jewish state in Russia called the Jewish Autonomous Oblast, and it's a Jewish state. And this is the flag.
What?
You didn't know that?
What the fuck?
Get his
Bro.
reaction.
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly my reaction on the podcast episode. I was like, "What?" It's 100% real, dude. This is a real thing. This is the flag of the Jewish Autonomous Oblast in Russia.
They have a gay flag.
Well, they say it's not gay.
Are they all gay?
No,
They-
just have a Jew flag.
Is that the lore?
They say it's not gay. The
It looks pretty gay to me.
It looks pretty gay to me. It's literally called the JAO flag. And so here's the thing. That flag came before the LGBTQ flag. And that's the other thing that I was floored about.
When did this flag come about?
I mean, when did they? I think, right? That's what we figured out. Is that not what we figured out? Hold on. Let's see. 19.
It says it was officially adopted fairly recently, I think in the late 90s. But I'm pretty sure that it was in use for decades before that, and it was only officially adopted.
Yeah, I can't. We found it on the podcast, but I can't remember where it was. But even so, it's absolutely insane. That's real. And I saw that and I was floored. I had the exact same reaction you did. Oh, adopted right there. 1996, 29 years ago.
My followers like you.
So when did the
Don't follow me.
LGBTQ flag get quote unquote adopted? I don't remember seeing the LGBTQ flag until like 10 years ago. If that. Like This is 29 years ago.
Yeah. So I was born in 82. So I was a kid during the 80s.
Yeah.
remember
I
what
was
the
in
80s
87. You were, where were you, Clyde?
What year was born?
Yeah.
98.
Okay.
So I grew up in the 80s. I remember what the 80s was like. It was very, very different. It was good times. But back then, there was a lot of stuff that was rainbow colored for kids. And back then, rainbow just meant for kids. It was like there was a lot of toys and there was a lot of games and all that stuff, and it was all rainbow colored, and it just meant for kids. At the local parks, there were, like slides and jungle gyms and all that kind of stuff that were rainbow colored. It was very common, and there was never any kind of association with anything gay. Anybody who's my age or anybody who or older who was around the 80s, they'll remember that anything that was for kids was rainbow colored. The rainbow thing started to become gay probably, I'm going to say in the late 2000s. It's when that association started to really happen. And the rainbow symbol, the reason why it is associated with this Jewish state is because the rainbow is a symbol of God's covenant to basically not destroy the earth.
That's literally what it says.
It is a biblical
It's literally
symbol.
what it says right here. Rainbows are biblical symbol of peace, happiness, and goodness.
But it comes from a specific story because it's the symbolic
the candles of
God's
the menorah
covenant to not flood the world again.
But according to them, it says the number of the bands of the rainbow equal the number of the candles of the menorah.
Right. So the Jews can claim that it is a Jewish symbol. They can say that's our symbol. It means something to us.
And the 7 Noahide laws.
And then incidentally, you have this actual Jewish state that was given to Jews, but they don't want it because they don't want to live there. They wanted to go and fuck up Palestine and kick out all the Arabs and take it over. Right. Yes, exactly. They have to do that as part of
this
their
is the governor.
They're gonna force it no matter what. So there were multiple other state plans. There was a plan to give the United States had a plan in the 1930s, I believe, to create a Jewish state. Do either of you guys know where that was?
Yeah.
No.
Madagascar was Germany.
Yeah.
It was don't tell me.
It's real interesting.
Don't tell me.
You grew up close to it.
It was Niagara Falls.
Yeah, it was Niagara Falls. Yeah. The region around Niagara Falls was proposed as a Jewish state in the United States. Yeah. That was rejected. Madagascar, of course, was the Nazi Third Reich plan. That was rejected. There was this one. There was another one that I can't remember at the moment, but there was another Jewish state that was proposed, I'm pretty sure, by the British Empire at the time. And then you have this one that was actually created by Russia. They don't want it. They don't want any of those places. They only want Israel. They have to go kick the Palestinians out. Right. Because they have to take the Holy Land, because like you said, they have to manufacture prophecy and bring that back to Mashiach so he can vanquish all of the Jewish enemies and they can rule the whole world, unchallenged in the Jew world order.
Clyde, can I get that black charger over there? My phone just died.
So
just plug it in real quick.
Where?
The one that I gave you last night. Yeah. That one.
So yeah, essentially, Zionism is not essentially the belief for Jews to have a homeland, because they were offered many different homelands.
It has to be that.
It has to be that homeland because that's connected to Judaism.
Right.
So Zionism is not this, secular, atheistic viewpoint. It is connected to Judaism.
Not only that, here's the other thing that we talked about on the podcast yesterday. So if you guys are subscribed to my YouTube, you'll see these podcasts pop up. But I did one with Cato and one with Clyde. But what we were talking about on our podcast is the fact that, and we kind of touched on this in the live last night, the Jewish question, which everybody thinks that is a Nazi anti-Semitic trope, like that the Nazis invented that. 100, that is not the truth. The Jewish question was not invented by the Nazis. It was actually something that was being said and considered by everyone in Europe in the 1700s and the 1800s, including the Jewish people. And the Jewish question was literally just it wasn't an anti-Semitic thing. It wasn't even a hateful thing. It was literally exactly what it says, the Jewish question, because what the Jews and everyone else in Europe at the time, all these other countries, were basically saying was, your culture and your way of life does not mix with ours. And it's okay. And it's cool. Like, whatever. That's just how you guys want to live. And they said the same thing. That's how we want to live. Right. But at the same time, both you and I agree that this doesn't work. And so we need to figure something out. All of them were saying it. It wasn't a Nazi thing. The Nazis were like the last in the line that said it.
Yeah. They were getting exiled from countries long, long before then. So,
but this is before the exiles. This is right for the most.
No, it's exiles have been happening for thousands of years.
It's before the ones that it's before the ones that we know of that are very that's what I meant. But hold on a second, let me pull this up real quick. I'm gonna pull up that whole thing that we were talking about.
We need to take questions too because we're running out of time.
Yeah.
Oh,
We
yeah.
have like 10 minutes left.
So it's going to say, yeah, here. Oh, no. So this is saying 19th, 20th, but that's not it. So we say Jewish question 17. All right. This should pull it up. Yeah, here we go. So this is the truth, and this is what nobody ever talks about. I'm going to share this here. Hang on a second. All right.
People want to say everything started on October 7th, bro.
So
This is fucking crazy.
So here it is. Here it is. Jewish question in 1700 and 1800 referred to debates over whether Jews could become full citizens in Europe nations, challenging traditional exclusions and asking how to integrate with and manage their distinct presence amidst rising nationalism, with proposed solutions ranging from emancipation, granting rights, to forced assimilation, discrimination, or even racial exclusion, culminating in modern anti-Semitism, blah, 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 blah. Key aspects in 1700s. Britain, the term Jewish question first emerged in debates around the act, which briefly allowed Jews to become naturalized citizens, sparking widespread public outcry, revealing deep-seated anti-Jewish sentiment. Of course, that's what it's going to say. But literally every single one of these things, if you actually read into it, all of it was like, it was a mutual understanding. This is not going to say that, but if you actually dig into it, like we did on the podcast, it was all a mutual understanding that the Jewish people and the people of these nations were trying to figure out what the hell do we do because this isn't working. And all of them said that. Even the Jewish people, they were like, we don't want to be here. Like they wanted their Jewish state, right? They wanted because of the strong sense of nationalism.
That's not entirely true. That was one answer. So one answer to the Jewish question was, let's yank
nationalistic
all the
Jewish state.
Yeah, right. Let's yank all the Jews out of here and create our own state. That would be considered the Zionist answer. But there were other answers too. Like we talked about on our podcast, there was the Reform Judaism movement, which was basically trying to make Jews more European, to kind of chill them out and make them more mild and say, let's
the reform.
Let's become less radically Jewish. Let's become less, like provocative of all these people. Yeah, reform.
And you were talking about how Moses Hess himself, the father of. They say Theodore Herzl is the father of Zionism, but Moses Hess was one of the very first, and you were explaining how he was an inspiration for both the Zionist movement and the communist movement.
Yeah, he helped Karl Marx write the communist revolutions was another way of dealing with the problem.
He had influence.
Let's overthrow these fuckers.
Dude, he had influence in the Communist Manifesto with freaking Karl Marx.
Yeah, he had a lengthy correspondence with Karl.
And then the other thing,
and Moses Hess was known as the communist rabbi. That's
literally his name was the communist rabbi. Yes. And then on top of that, he was like, basically what we were talking about was how he was like lamenting the fact that, we are going to have to dilute our own traditions and our own lifestyle because it's the only way that we'll be able to fit in and still be able to have the opportunities that we want in these countries. Yeah.
And if you read his letters, because he took all his letters and he published them into a book that incidentally is called Rome versus Jerusalem, which is a whole other storyline, right? Yeah, we did. So he published these letters, and he basically was someone who I'm pretty sure he lived in Germany. He had gone to university, like a mainstream university. He wore suits. He didn't wear the traditional, Orthodox Jewish stuff. He
Marxist Internet Archive.
But as he got older, he started to realize that the Reform Judaism movement was causing Jews to sort of lose their fundamental Jewish soul.
Here it is.
And he was lamenting that. So he understood that it was kind of necessary because he realized how untenable the situation was between Jews and Europeans all over Europe, not in one country, but all over Europe. He understood that change needed to be made, but he was also quite sad about I read that whole book, and I did a whole thing on it in my Burning Book Club, which is another thing I'll plug because I have an educational club called the Burning Book Club. It's the most controversial, most suppressed, most censored books throughout history. And I go over them in my book, and I provide notes on them. I provide analyses. And what I try to do is take these books, which are hundreds of pages long, and boil them down into only like 10 to 15 pages of the most concentrated stuff. So people can read that and understand the significance and the relevance of hundreds of pages of obscure literature in one, like they can read it in less than an hour and understand all that stuff and start making sense of the world. That's my Burning Book Club, and I'm quite proud of that. But I work super hard on that stuff. So anyway, you have this whole narrative that's going on in the late 1800s where the Jewish question is a question that's not, Europeans are not the only people asking it. Jews are also asking it. it's not just the Europeans saying, what are we going to do about the Jews? It's Jews saying, what are we going to do to try to coexist with Europeans? Because no matter what we do, we are always coming into conflict with these Gentiles. And the reason they're always coming into conflict is because they have a fundamental difference. They have, they're oil and water. They have a different moral code. They have different behaviors. They have different rituals and religious beliefs that to Gentiles are considered completely perverse and twisted and predatory, all these kinds of things. And the reason that remember what was going on in the late 1700s was a bunch of revolutions.
Yes.
People, Gentile Europeans having revolutions to try to claim rights for themselves, to get liberated from the centuries of serfdom that they lived under the monarchies. So while all this is happening, you're starting to see the rise of democracies and republics and people exerting their rights. But while all this is happening, they're saying, wait a minute, what about the Jews? Are they going to get rights? We don't want that. We want rights, but we don't want universal rights because Jews are bad. If Jews get rights, they're gonna mess with us. They're gonna steal our property. They're gonna charge us usury. They're gonna do all this stuff. So the Jewish question is basically a bunch of people liberating themselves from the monarchies, but at the same time, it's like this is happening in Germany, in Austria, in Hungary, in France, in all of Europe. They're saying, but what about the Jews? We can't give them rights because if we give them rights, they're going to steal all our property again, just like they did hundreds of times in the past. And they got kicked out at all those times from everything from individual city-states to vast empires. They always get kicked out. If we give them rights, we're going to end up in the same position we've always been with the Jews because they're going to do the same shit they've always done. So the Jewish question is fundamentally rooted in what are we going to do about them? What rights are we going to give them? While we're all proclaiming our rights, what rights are they going to get? And at the same time, Jews were asking the question, yeah, what rights are we going to get? And how is this going to look for us? Yeah. Please do that.
So now
what rights are we?
So I pulled up Moses Hess. So this is Moses Hess, revolutionary socialism in Germany, best remembered today as the first secular Zionist, enthusiast, handicapped, open mind. He took up many causes, found satisfaction in none. Not by chance that already in the 1840s, socialist comrades dubbed him the communist rabbi. Gravitated from the first toward the left Hegelian circle in Berlin, the group which numbered among its members Friedrich Strauss, if you ever know anything about him, Ludwig Feuerbach, Bruno Bauer, and Marx, and Engels. The left Hegelians at first accepted the premises of the master, but only blah, blah, blah. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy that people don't talk about the fact that Moses Hess and the idea of Zionism literally stems straight from freaking communism.
You just read that little piece and you listed off a bunch of people who were considered these leftists.
Yes,
they were mostly Jews.
Yeah,
one of them, Bruno Bauer, he wrote a letter in 1843. I don't recall the name of the letter, but it was sort of like a critique of Jews and their role in society. In response to that, Karl Marx wrote, and this is long before he wrote Das Kapital and all that stuff in the Communist Manifesto. He wrote a response to Bruno Bauer in 1844, and that was called "On the Jewish Question."
This one right here.
Yeah, look, there should be an essay written by him, and it's called "On the Jewish Question." You can see it on the right, "On the Jewish Question" by Karl Marx. So Karl Marx is a Jew and also obviously a communist, and he is making the Jewish question phrase official in 1844 by writing an essay called "On the Jewish Question." That should be proof positive that it's not an anti-Semitic trope. It was a point of discussion that was very important in all of geopolitics throughout the 1800s in Europe. And it was a phrase that was very commonly used by Gentiles and Jews alike. And it wasn't until way into the 1900s where the Jewish question they've been trying to find an answer to this question for 120 freaking years, and there's still no answer because all these Gentile European nations are still having problem with Jews.
Literally says the Christian state knows only, as I say, where is it? I just read it before. It says, Christian state is incapable of emancipating the Jew, but adds Bauer, by his very nature, the Jew cannot be emancipated so long as the state is the Christian and the Jew is Jewish. The one is incapable of granting emancipation as the other is of receiving it. Crazy. But this is all very, you're just an anti-Semite, dude. Why you just stop hating Jews?
All right, it's
wild.
9:31. Do we want to do questions or?
Yeah, we could do some questions. Let's just do some questions. What do you guys got? What's some questions, guys? And
somebody said it's crazy how much of a minority can control the majority.
Yeah.
A well-organized minority will always control a disorganized
Yeah, but I mean that's the age-old thing though. Like the secrets are kept in small circles kind of idea. And on top of that, you know, this is my belief about who controls the world, right? I don't think we even have a clue who those people are. I actually think that
I think it's Satan.
it is. That's exactly what it is. It's Satan, and Satan is influencing a very small group of people who ultimately are actually pulling all the strings.
Satan, my man.
But what I'm saying is this: I don't like even all the Soros and the freaking all these other people that we like to say are part of the elites and the leaders or whatever. I think that those are still just patsies. I think the actual people that are truly influenced by Satan and are actually hiding in the shadows, like really pulling the strings, I don't think we even know who they are, and we will never know who they are. And that's how like small those circles actually are, you know? Anyway.
I want to add that yes, it is a tiny minority of people who are, you know, controlling basically the whole world. But the way that they do it is by harvesting our energy, our own energy, by pitting us against each other. It would be virtually impossible for such a small group to control such a large group. But they confuse us, they divide us, they anger us, they get us to sign up for all these systems that sound great, but in reality, they're stealing our rights, they're stealing our freedom, they're stealing our money. What we think of as money is actually debt. The entire system of our whole monetary system is debt. The more money there is, the more debt there is. So everything is a system of enslavement. And then to keep us distracted from, you know, realizing all that, they keep us divided and they keep us in conflict with each other. So the left always thinks the problem is the right, and the right always thinks the problem is the left. And it's like that in every country. Every country has a right and a left, and they're split down the middle, and they're all told that each other is their problems. And that's just the way it's been going for a very, very long time. So the only way a tiny group can control everybody so well is by getting everybody and dividing them up and confusing them and telling them each other is the problem and letting them fight. They kick back and let us fight. And while we're fighting, while we're expending all of that energy fighting, we're spending money, we're expending energy, we're coming up with new ideas, we're coming up with new weaponry. All they do is harvest that shit.
Yeah, it's shaking the jar of ants. It's what you were talking about. Like ultimately, that's what's going on. They're shaking the jar of ants, right? And
they're exploiting and profiting.
And yeah, and they have to. That's how they do it. All right. If you guys have some questions, throw them in the chat. And if you want to support us, throw them in the super chat. Throw them in there. We'll answer them as we go.
What's that one? Been following Cato for years. He's 1000% the real deal.
Oh yeah.
10,000.
Oh, 10,000. My bad.
Yeah, get it right. 10,000. 10,000. It's not 10,000. 10,000, bro. 9,000%. Did you take that 9,000?
Yeah.
I hope you didn't notice the 9,000.
I just did that right behind you.
You guys didn't see that, but he was literally doing this as he said 1,000.
Clyde's over here taking the 9,000, guys.
I got your 9,000, motherfucker.
Oh man. All right. Let's see. Yeah, create the problem. There's a solution. I'm trying to see if there's any other questions here. Let's do this one. Yeah, this is important. Let's do this one. I mean, it's a standard question. I feel like we've answered a lot, but it honestly can't be answered enough.
Yeah, I agree.
Would you be able to talk about why some people say it's biblical to support Israel? What would you say to that? So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're going to have a much more in-depth answer, but I'll just give them kind of the surface level answer. At the end of the day, it all stems from the promise that Abraham made to his sons. And in 1947, 48, something called the Schofield Bible went like basically mainstream because of a guy named what the hell's his name?
Cyrus Schofield. So yeah, in the early 1900s,
James Darby.
Darby, John
Darby, excuse me,
invented dispensationalism.
Yes.
I mean, the beginning of this stems from honestly Martin Luther. Even though I mentioned this last night, Martin Luther was vehemently against the Jews. He was seen as anti-Semitic, but when he was trying to reform the church and reform the Bible, he tried to change the original canon of the Old Testament. And because the original Old Testament was in Greek. And so he thought there was something wrong with that canon of the Old Testament. So he went to the Jews of that day, of his time, and he asked them for their Masoretic text of the Old Testament. But that Masoretic text that the Jews had was essentially Jewified. And so that's where you see the very beginnings of these Jewification within the Bible and Jewification within Christianity is right there with Martin Luther. And he didn't mean to do it that way, but that's just how it happened. And then fast forward to the 1800s, you get this guy named John Darby who invents dispensationalism. And essentially that is the belief that God has two chosen people. He has the Christians, the church, and the Jews, and he has a separate plan for each one of them. And with that comes this secret rapture where the church is going to be raptured secretly and all the Jews are going to be left behind for a 7-year tribulation period where they're going to have the chance to then be saved by Christ later. That concept of dispensationalism was influenced or that was an influencing factor in a guy named Cyrus Schofield, who came in the late 1800s, early 1900s. And what Cyrus Schofield did was he created the first reference Bible called the Schofield Bible. And from Darby's idea of dispensationalism, he incorporated all of that within the reference Bible. Now, this was the first time that a reference Bible was made. So that reference Bible was then distributed to all the institutions, the churches, the Christian colleges, the seminaries, the churches, the ministers, the pastors. It was rampant throughout the United States in the early 1900s. And that's where you get a boom of this, what we now call Christian Zionism in the United States.
Yep.
To sum that up.
I have one thing to add.
I don't.
One quick thing to add is the idea of Israel, the word Israel, throughout history. So we know that there was the diaspora, right? After Roman Jerusalem or Roman Judea came into conflict, Judea lost that war. Rome pretty much dismantled their entire civilization, scattered them to the wind all over the old world, and that became known as the diaspora. From that point on, in many, many Jewish texts throughout history, they refer to the scattered people of what used to be Israel or Judea. They call them Israel. So it's kind of like a nickname for the global community of Jews. They call it Israel a lot. So there's a lot of Jewish writing throughout history where they talk about Israel, and it's not a nation at this point in time. It's not a nation. It doesn't exist until 1947. But when they write or they speak of Israel, what they're talking about is the global community of Jews. So they're just referring to all Jews. Fast forward all the way to 1947, you have a nation suddenly that comes into being, and it doesn't have a name like the Jewish Autonomous Oblast. What did they choose to name it? Specifically, they chose to name it Israel. And that's because already throughout 2,000 years worth of history, if not more, Israel had been referencing the global community of Jews. And it's also obviously referenced in the Bible. And by that time, they had already been very successful in infiltrating United States, American Christianity with the Zionist narrative. So they knew if we name our nation state Israel, then by just automatically, we're going to get the support of all these Christian Zionists who have already been brainwashed for 50, 60 years to support Israel, which until that point had been the global community of Jews. And all of a sudden it becomes a nation. So it's this big bait and switch that happens. Because if you read the Bible in the 1930s or the 1920s or 1910, and you read Israel, Israel was not a nation that existed. So it would be referencing the global community of Jews. 1947, boom, it becomes a nation. So fast forward 1950s, 1960s, 1970s, you have all these people who are now being confused, and they think supporting Israel is supporting an actual modern nation state.
Yeah. And
that's a nation state with an army and an intelligence service and all these things that do all the diabolical things that nations do. And now you have these people who are, they're too dense to go back in history and think if they've been confused in this manner. So they think supporting a modern nation state is the same as supporting the Israel of the Bible, and nothing could be further from the truth.
Well, and I also want to add something else to it, because even just from a standpoint of, I want to even just touch on the fact that it's that the word that's used is biblical, right? It's always the word biblical. It's biblical to support Israel. The reason for that is, in addition to everything you guys also just said, it's also just the fact that it's not enough to say that it's the right thing to do to support Israel, or it's or whatever, use any other word. The fact that they're using the word biblical is literally purposeful to leech off of Christians in the West to make them feel like this is my biblical duty as a Christian. it's not just about like, this is a good thing to do, or this is going to bless me or whatever. Like, it's like, no. If I believe in the Bible, then I have to support this nation. Otherwise, I'm not a believer. It's literally attacking their core.
There are Christian Zionists that literally believe
that
if they go against Israel, they will go to hell.
Not only that, they believe,
not over exaggerated.
They believe they'll be condemned.
Like, so that right there will tell you it does not fucking matter what you show these people. Dead babies in Gaza, AIPAC, corruption, doesn't matter what you show them. Doesn't matter what statistics or proof you show them that Israel is a fucking pariah. They will never, ever turn their back, because they think if they do, they're going to fucking hell.
Yep, that's right. All right, guys. Hey, if you guys have more questions, throw them in there. We appreciate you. About a little over 1,000 people watching right now, so it's awesome. Welcome to the party, guys. If you have any questions, throw them in the chat, please, and we'll answer them as they come. Because I think, well, I mean, I can swipe up a little bit and see if there's any other ones. We already talked about that. Could the French have written that love letter being a romantic language, then translated it to English? That's actually a funny question. Could the French have written that love letter being a romantic language? French AI, yeah. Then translated it to English. That's funny. Maybe. Who knows? Let's see what else we got here. Anything else? And I can't see the questions on X, guys. I can only really see the questions from coming in from YouTube.
If you guys have questions, you can put them in.
And also, my phone is completely dead, so I can't get questions.
Oh, somebody said talk about how Israel made ISIS.
Oh,
I think you would be best to cover that.
Yeah.
One. No?
No, I'm not. I only know that vaguely.
I can give like
Hamas. Hamas,
easy.
And how they still have been funding Hamas.
Yeah, I mean, ISIS. It's like any other thing, though. ISIS was created the same way as everything else.
And ISIS members were trained by the CIA.
Yeah, well, ISIS was created just. I mean, I can give like a high level. It's basically just. It's like any other thing that Israel has done to create, the boogeyman, right? They prop up these terrorist organizations by literally funding them, right? But then also playing both sides. It's the exact same thing that Netanyahu did with Hamas.
Yeah, you know the funny thing? ISIS never attacks Israel.
Never, not once.
Never.
Still,
they're all
still to this day.
They're all scattered right around the border of Israel, but they'll never attack Israel.
Still to this day. Weird, right? Super weird.
It's just a coincidence.
This is I mean, it's conspiracy, But yeah, I mean, I think I don't know the whole like full deep dive, and so I don't want to try and butcher that.
I know
but I'll just say it's like anything
I don't
else.
want to speak out of line and say something false. But I have a question probably for you. Somebody said, "How do you recommend we learn all this info?" I feel like you're really good at it. I mean, I make content and kind of educate through my content, but I feel like you educate.
Deep dive.
Yeah, deep dive. Like I learned stuff from you.
Yeah. Okay, so I have put many years into my research. You guys know that. Many years.
Yeah,
literally
he's autistic when it comes to this.
I've published an enormous amount of this, but I've gone super deep, and I've gotten really obscure references because I'm trying to get to the bottom of the truth. Where I share this stuff, I have my website, which is catodezorg.com. Super easy. I publish a lot on there. I have some ebooks, but I'm going to be publishing a lot more. My clubs is where I really put a lot of effort into educating people. So one is my investment-based group, which is where I follow all of the current events, and I'm looking for not the stuff that's being reported in the news. I'm looking for the stuff behind the news, the diabolical shit that's happening, all the corrupt fucking major players and the moves that they're making behind the scenes. What are they trying to do? Because their companies they're gonna pop off. Like a really recent one is, I don't know if you guys saw this. Just today, CNN did a deal with this betting platform, Kalshi. Do you guys know of Kalshi? It's like a bet on anything platform. It's like Polymarket. What's weird about that is what their stated mission is to basically turn every human event, all of human behavior, into events that can be betted on. So they're commodifying all of human behavior so that people in real time can make bets and ultimately profit on literally any imaginable event, because you can go up there and you can upload an event. So it could be bet on the genocide in Gaza. You can bet, yes, you
wait, and that's, I don't know if that's through Kalshi
or not. It's through Kalshi.
Dude, Kalshi is the freaking betting platform that Talmud Tatum just promoted.
Okay, so
like
what's
3 days in a row.
Yeah, so here's where that gets sketchy. Who do you think is a strategic advisor for Kalshi?
I can only guess.
Donald Trump Jr. He joined their board earlier this year. Their chief competitor in this exact same space, which is basically illegal betting, but it's such a new form of betting that there's no laws outlawing it yet. And yes, you can bet on literally anything. The outcome of anything can be bet on. Their competitor is Polymarket. It just so happens that Donald Trump Jr. is also the exact same position at Polymarket. So he's a strategic advisor to the two giant companies in the space that are rivals, except the connection is Donald Trump, who obviously is the son, or Donald Trump Jr., who's obviously the son of the president. That is a fucking connection that I think most people should realize, as all of human behavior in the entire United States or in the entire world becomes things you can bet on and literally make money. And that's going to get really diabolical really freaking quick, I guarantee you. We are just this far away. We're this far away from literally having drone wars in combat, killing people, being streamed in real time to people cheering them on and liking and commenting, and being bet on in real time. We're this far away from that shit.
And people
that's
will do
how far we
people will
fallen
do
from,
it gladly.
Yes, they will. They will have a shitload of fun with it. And so that's the kind of shit that I dig up in my investment group, because I do not promote investment in these diabolical companies for the reason of boosting them. What I do is I try to give you guys the information and either say, fuck that, or I'm going to bet on this because these fucking mafiosos, these corrupt bastards that run our whole civilization, they're going to pump money into these companies and they're going to get rich no matter what, even if it burns the whole world down.
It's this one, right? This is what you're talking about. I'm gonna share this because I saw this the other day and I was like, he's promoting a gambling app, but like Kalshi, if that's true, and Kalshi is actually, that's insane, dude. Okay,
Kalshi and Polymarket. Donald Trump Jr. is a strategic advisor.
So look at this.
And he became the strategic advisor to both of those companies like 5 months apart.
Gambling is extremely.
Yeah. Yes.
Hey. So inspirational. I'm so inspired, guys.
Commodification of everything.
This was
commodification of the future, commodification of human.
This is freaking, and this is Sergeant Shekels' post about it right here. Kalshi just raised $1 billion at an $11 billion valuation, and let me keep it all the way real. This platform has been a major help during election cycles. While the fake news media keeps pumping out these garbage polls to push their narratives, Kalshi has been giving real-time projections that actually reflect what's happening on the ground. There was a time when prediction markets were unheard of. Then the government tried to bury them before they ever took off. Kalshi didn't back down, and now it's a powerhouse millions of people trust every single day. Prediction markets are finally stepping into their full potential, and Kalshi is leading the way. Shout out to everybody who believed early you were ahead of the curve. This makes
me fucking sick. You know why?
Yeah.
Because when there's billions and billions of dollars riding on outcomes and those outcomes are close, what is the next logical step that happens?
They're gonna rig it.
Obvious.
They're going to rig the entire thing.
Obvious. They're going to rig every fucking event in human existence that can be bet on.
And of course, it's this faggot that's saying all that. I'm probably going to get freaking kicked off YouTube now because I said that, but he is a faggot. And if he's watching this, he can say it. Dude, I can't stand this guy. I can't stand people like him. It's like, it's so blatantly in your face of how much they don't care about anything but their own pocketbooks and themselves. I mean, you're promoting a gambling app that probably is going to put so many people in debt and put them in such a shitty position for the rest of their lives.
Yes.
And yet you're here pretending to be some moral authority for God, preaching that you're the Zionist. Like, dude,
it's absolutely diabolical.
I can't say it pisses me off to no end, bro. Like to no end. That's why I went after this guy as hard as I did.
So that's why I run the occult finance group. Because in that group, I put a shitload of work into it. I do at least 2 hours of research every day. I scour the news looking for these connections, and I find connections like that. And it just goes deeper and deeper. It's really fucked up. So that's like a real-time group. And my other group is my Burning Book Club, which is where I go into historical books. And that's where I was mentioning earlier, where I find all these obscure references. I found all these obscure references, I cover a lot of different conspiratorial topics. It's not just on Jews, but that is a big theme. And I try to take this stuff and concentrate it into only the most important notes. So you can spend like an hour or less reading like a 15-page PDF, but you'll have the knowledge as though you just sat through a week or two reading a 300 or 400-page book. So if, to answer the question that somebody asked, how do I learn about all this stuff? That's what I'm going to recommend, because I try really hard to take this mountains of knowledge, the hundreds of books I read, and just condense it into the most concentrated way, so that people who don't have time to do hours and hours of research and dedicate years of their life, but they really want to understand it, they can do it in a very, very fast way. And if rather than reading 100 books, you can read 100 PDFs that are 10 to 15 pages long, and you can do that in a year. And at the end of the year, you've got a fucking badass education and all this stuff. In all these topics, you'll never hear touched by the mainstream. You can go get a master's degree or a PhD, and you're never going to read any of the books that I talk about, probably.
Read the caption of that post right there.
The co-founder of Kalshi says the long-term vision is to financialize everything and create a tradable asset out of any difference in opinion. Weren't we just talking about how the world is consciously and intentionally divided?
That's why I said that. Yeah.
So now the division is not just going to be serving the idea of controlling.
They're going to capitalize on it.
We're going to commodify human behavior and make money on it. And as you guys should probably know, in any market, who are the people that make the most money?
I did not know this either. I did not know CNN partnered with freaking Kalshi.
That just happened today.
Oh my gosh, dude. The first major news network to embrace Kalshi prediction markets.
I don't know.
The
Yesterday,
third.
the day before.
Happened the third. Happened 2 days ago.
So in any market, who makes the most money? The brokers. So it's Kalshi and Polymarket that are going to be raking in vast fortunes, as all the idiots like this, all the goyim of the world, they're betting on election outcomes, and they're betting on fights, and they're betting on wars, and they're betting on all kinds of stupid celebrity bullshit. They might make a little bit of money here and lose a little bit of money there, and yes, they will go into debt, and yes, there will be fathers and husbands and mothers who are taking money they should be spending on their kids and families, and they're going to be betting on this stupid bullshit. But who's going to rake in the biggest fortunes is going to be the people who own the markets and their shareholders.
Imagine betting on the news. Imagine. That's literally what they're doing. That's what CNN, that's why CNN is partnering with Kalshi.
Yes, betting on every conceivable news event.
Imagine.
You guys should spend time on Kalshi and look at what's bet on. It's everything imaginable.
Can paint a narrative to get a bunch of people to bet one way or swing.
Yes. Not only paint a narrative, they could create an event.
Yes.
Yeah, they can create an event.
That's the obvious next step.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine
to get people to bet this way.
And they already do that. Like, remember how many airline stocks were shorted right before 9/11? That's sketchy, right? I mean, we know that somebody out there shorted vast amounts of airline stocks right before 9/11. So somebody knew it was going to happen, and they made vast fortunes, hundreds of millions of dollars. Now it's going to get even worse, because now you're going to have that money, rather than being in the stock market where it exists, only among major investment managers. That money is going to come from the pockets of the goyim, the millions and millions of people who want to bet on everything. They're going to be racking up money on their charge cards, or they're going to be, loading up their card or whatever and betting on all this stupid shit. And those outcomes are destined to be manipulated, destined, because when there's that much money in any kind of event, it's impossible that you're not going to have people who rig these events.
And I mean, let's just put like a possible scenario, right? Imagine that there's some public figure that's like just in the news every single day because of something crazy they did, right? And all of a sudden now there's all these conspiracy theories and speculative things going around, just like right now with Charlie Kirk, right? And one of them is, oh, this person is just, they can't take the pressure. They're going to crash out and do something insane. They're going to kill themselves. And then all of a sudden, 2 days later, and they bet on it. 2 days later, they kill themselves and people make $100,000. What happens to that news? What is that news station going to say? Oh, okay. We have way more power than we thought we had. And then what is everybody else going to say that's super power hungry and has the ability to actually influence the news and change the narrative and create these false flags and create everything else? Now we can make money off of this. So now we can not only use,
that money's coming out of people's pockets and going into
so now we can not only distract these idiots and create false flags to distract these morons, but now we can make money off these morons.
And next thing is going to be, I don't know if you guys have seen this on your feed, but I see a bunch of these influencers who are making content for like Roobet and Rainbet and all these online casinos Next thing is they're going to have all these like normal influencers that are like fitness influencers or day in the life influencers who are doing promotions for this shit.
They already do. Bro, I've seen Kalshi promoted by tons of people.
You know what they do is they go out there and they'll make a little bet, and then they win the bet, and it makes people want to download the app and then use it and stuff.
That's what all of them are doing. Like
it's going to be like, what was that movie with Machine Gun Kelly where they were live streaming everything?
Oh, I didn't see that.
It's going to be like that. It's going to be a complete dystopian world. Yeah. There's going to be people out there live streaming this stuff. Is that what they're doing? Like, if you see like an event going on, like you said with this drone stuff, like if a drone is, capturing some footage of, let's say, like a Ukrainian getting, hit with a drone or something, they're going to be betting on stuff like that.
So all these bets are timed. They have like, they operate on timelines. I don't know if they're like what the minimum timeline is or whatever, but a lot of a really popular one.
Yeah, they're on timelines. Yep.
Yeah. A really popular one that's used is elections, betting on election outcomes.
Yep.
And the way they go up and down, the way the odds go up and down is based on whatever's going on in the news cycle.
Bro, they were just betting on the Epstein files.
Yeah.
I just saw that the other day. They had a full bet on whether or not they were gonna, when they were talking about releasing the extra pages or whatever, there was a bet on the Epstein files.
Right. There's bets on everything you can imagine. If you just go through and look at all the bets, it's crazy because they're user generated bets and people can just pile into them. So the really popular ones get huge and then some are really obscure.
I'm pretty sure there's one about Candace Owens right now.
At the same time, on the other side of the world, there is a drone weapons development lab happening, which is Russia, Ukraine. They are very, very rapidly iterating extremely advanced drones. And they're testing them not just on each other, but on civilian populations. And there are Telegram channels in both Ukraine and Russia.
I follow them.
Where they live stream, literally they live stream these drones tormenting people.
Yeah.
Not just attacking them and blowing them up.
They hover around them and they fly. Have you seen this?
I've seen some.
Like an old lady walking her dog, walking home or walking her dog or walking home from getting groceries.
And they kind of scare them and they like make them move around and then they fly off.
Yeah. Well, they often blow them up.
Well, I was watching.
So a bet could be, will the drone actually torment this person and fly off, or will they actually blow them up? And there is destined to be a convergence of these things. You're going to get betting markets and you're going to get this diabolical, literal live streamed terrorism and war. And at some point they're going to come together because there's a lot of sick people out there who are going to be entertained by this. And dude,
it's literally The Running Man.
Yeah.
It's literally The Running Man. Have you seen that movie? The super old movie, The Running Man. I want to say it was Arnold Schwarzenegger, but they just did a remake like 2 months or like a month ago it dropped. But it's literally just live streaming contests that end up in death or like one person. It's kind of like the Hunger Games, but modern.
That's for sure going to happen.
That's literally
and
what's
there's going to be hundreds of thousands of people betting on it in real time.
Yeah.
And it's going to be on Polymarket and Kalshi, which they're the strategic advisor for both of these supposedly rival companies is literally the president of the United States' son. It doesn't get more dystopian than that. This is beyond dystopian fiction. Like dystopian fiction writers couldn't even come up with shit this fucked up. And that's the world we're living in.
It's wild, man. Freaking crazy. What are people saying on there? You got any questions?
Yeah, I'm looking.
Yeah, somebody said The Running Man on here. Yeah, exactly. The Running Man.
What we allow to be done to others will ultimately happen to us. That's what somebody just said.
Yep. I'm curious. I'm going to look something up really quick because I'm curious about.
If you guys have questions, you can pop them in here on the live.
We got. Let's see how many people are watching right now. We got
1,200
people right now. So yeah, if you guys got questions, drop them in.
Drop your guys' questions, whatever you want to ask.
Some people just don't know how to ask the questions. I don't know. Let's see.
Yeah, sometimes they ask the most open-ended questions ever.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. I'm trying to see if there's like if we can. We have to download the app, I guess. Then right? They're not going to let us see the questions without downloading the app, or maybe they will. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I'm going to put this up. Here's some questions that Kalshi right now is running. Some bets. Let's stop screen. I'm going to share this. Because I'm curious. I just want to see what they got. All right. Add to stage. So who Who will be the first to leave the Trump cabinet? Pete Hegseth or Pam Bondi?
That's a bet right now.
That's a bet right now.
All these are bets.
Next U.S. presidential election winner, Gavin Newsom or J.D. Vance. Pro football champion.
What's the Epstein one?
Will Trump release any of the Epstein files before December 20th? Before 2026?
What's that? The 3,700 on the bottom?
And look at the
No, that's 3 mil.
look at the totals. Yeah.
It's 22 million on
Fed decision in December. Cut 25 BPS. Fed maintains rate. Pro basketball champion. Times person of the year in 2025. AI or Jensen Huang, whatever the hell that is. S&P close price 2025. Which party will win the U.S. House? Who will Trump nominate as the Fed chair?
So this is happening already.
This is happening right now. You can bet on this right now.
So you can just download Kalshi on like an app
Yes.
and bet on the fucking Epstein files.
Yes. Yes. Who will leave their role in the Trump administration? Pete Hegseth or Akash Patel? And the other thing is, like he was saying, the other thing is you can make your own, you can create the bet. So these people, you can like write your own bet. I'm sure right now it goes through some kind of like vetting system, but who knows how long that'll last. Yeah, so those are all of them right now. Oh, no, there's not. There's freaking a ton more.
No, there's like hundreds of thousands.
Holy crap, dude. What will Trump say this week? Prediction, Maduro. Will Zelensky meet with Putin?
I mean, it doesn't sound so bad right now, but what's it called? Pre-justification, right? Or like conditioning.
Preconditioning.
Yeah, preconditioning or pre-justification. Like they're just warming us up to it.
That's what they do through
Like, it
Hollywood.
doesn't seem that bad
Yeah.
right now, and then it slowly, gradually gets worse and worse and worse.
And faster.
Yeah.
New COVID variant of concern reported.
And then as soon as one big gnarly fucked up bet happens, people make money, then it's normalized. And then it just gets more and more fucked up after that big one.
Then it goes viral.
Yeah. Then it goes viral. Then people are like betting on it. They're making memes. They're making, fucking edits of it and shit.
It's crazy, dude. What a world. All right. We got any other questions?
They're not asking very many questions.
What's up, fellas from Texas? What's up? How does Cato not believe in Satan when he knows how much evil there is out there? Did you say you don't believe in Satan? Did I miss that?
I mean, that's a long answer, but I never said that. I never claimed that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I didn't hear you say that.
No. I think you, Clyde, I think you earlier said ultimately who's running all the evil in the world is Satan. And I agreed with that. But I do think it's considerably more complex than that.
So someone's just taking what you said and going into the black and white instead of gray.
just hearing
Yeah. Well, I mean, I do believe there is, and we talked about this on our podcast, but I do believe there is a spiritual realm, and I do believe there is a demonic realm, and I do believe that human beings can achieve communion with these demonic entities, and there's a lot of documentation that has happened a lot. That's fundamentally what Kabbalah is.
Yeah.
And they can be influenced by these demonic entities. And I think it's very likely that even those demonic entities can inhabit human beings and operate as human beings, when in reality, it's like a demonic, super intelligent, like an entity that we can't really describe. So I don't know if we want to call them, demons or aliens or whatever, but I think there is spiritual super intelligence, both good and bad. And I think the idea of demonic superintelligence very much infiltrates humanity, is constantly attacking us, constantly harassing us, constantly sabotaging us, and ultimately really operating at the very highest levels. And I think that's why all the plans of the so-called elites, what we normally call elites, they're so diabolically fucking brilliant, and they almost never fail, especially in the long run, because they have plans that span across centuries. And they may take a long time, and they may be very complicated, and they may be very expensive, but they almost always happen. This constant destruction of humanity always happens.
Like they have knowledge not accessible to the general public.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make sense. Like, no human being would engage goals that are never going to be achieved in their lifetime. It doesn't make a lot of sense that human beings would operate that way. So you would have to have either a race or a culture or religion of people that is willing to make tremendous sacrifices in their own life so that their descendants can benefit. And I think that is plausible. Some people would operate that way, although it's not common. But what I think is more likely is there is this external, I call it demonic superintelligence, this external, very malevolent, it's a malevolent force that sort of exists outside human nature and the human realm, but it is capable of infiltrating the human realm and attacking us, sabotaging us, causing us to invite our own destruction. And that is, you could say that's fundamentally satanic, right? Because Satan is constantly plotting the destruction of humanity by our consent. Satan doesn't use violence and force and terror. He uses temptation. He invites people into doing deals that sound good initially, and ultimately they cause people to invite their own destruction. Well, it's not maybe this character Satan, but it is very obvious when you look at anything like this, like the stuff we just talked about, this Kalshi thing. We human beings are inviting our own destruction, and we typically have a shitload of fun with it. The things that destroy civilization, the things that destroy culture, religion, family, whatever.
We're welcoming them.
Yes.
We're making their job easy.
Yes,
we are literally doing their job for them.
They love it.
They love it.
There's always people who are like, this is obviously bad, and like, how can people not see that?
But they'll still do it.
But the masses of Goyim, they're going to eat this shit up, and it's obvious that collectively, well, not every single human. There's always humans who are good and have good values and push back against this. But collectively, there's this constant, like, unbroken pattern of humans inviting their own destruction. And it's a brilliant fucking plan. Well, it's too smart for human beings to have come up with it, in my opinion.
And that's the thing. And that's why, in my opinion, I do strongly believe in the devil. I strongly believe in Satan, because that is Satan's MO. Satan's MO is to prey on our weaknesses and our debilitations and the things that we just will naturally do, even though we know that we shouldn't. It's what's called the natural man, right? Satan preys on the natural man, which is just our humanity and the things that we're just our weaknesses, the things that we just always do no matter what. Right. And so it's literally his MO.
Especially psychologically.
Psychologically, especially. He knows that we're going to do it, and so he keeps preying on it, and he keeps influencing these people to double down and triple down on every single one of those things.
And there are a lot of people who benefit from that.
Tons.
They're constantly betting against humanity and winning.
Yeah. They think that they're benefiting. They are for now. They are temporarily, but in the earthly realm, yeah. But they definitely won't after.
Well, Satan wants as many people. He wants as many souls as he can get. He doesn't want us to go to heaven and be with God. He tempted Adam and Eve in the garden.
That's right.
He essentially, through Adam brought death and sin into the world, but it was through the devil tempting them. And he hates God. He rebelled against God, and he wants us to come with him to his eternal damnation in hell. So he's doing everything in his power to corrupt us. And I think his army is the synagogue of Satan. It literally says it in the Bible. That is like his army. I think he's working through those people. I think through Kabbalism. Yes, I think that is like that's his SEAL Team 6.
100%.
That he's using to corrupt this world and bring about his destruction.
I think the sort of commanders, the high commanders, is like an army of demons, basically.
Yeah.
Demonic superintelligence. I don't think it's one entity. I actually think it's like a wide.
Oh, it's a lot of them. Yeah, I agree.
Are we doing any more questions?
I don't see any.
Yeah.
I don't see any. It's late.
I got an early drive tomorrow.
Yeah. All right, guys. We're probably going to call this one. Clyde's got an early drive. Cato's got to go to bed. I got to go to bed. We appreciate you guys. Thanks for joining us on this. Make sure, once again, follow subscribe to my YouTube, subscribe to Clyde's YouTube, follow Cato on Instagram at cato.dezora, Dezorra. Follow my Instagram, iWenster, IWENDTSTER, and my X. And then Clyde, what's yours? _ the real Clyde _ So make sure you guys follow us up. We appreciate you guys. What's that last one say? I can't see it.
I personally find myself annoyed by people who invoke names of external entities to avoid accountability for their own choices. I, for one, do not believe in the power of Satan.
To each is their own.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm not here to judge you. To each his own.
To each is their own.
But all right, guys. Well, we appreciate you. Thanks so much. And catch you later.